coming in. Just waiting for. Oh, yes. Perfect. We do have. Thank you. Okay, great to see you. And I will begin now. Thank you so much. Nice to see you all. Um, so let's begin today's session. My name is Amit Sangekar. माझं नाव आहे अमित सांगेकर. मेरा नाम है अमित सांगेकर. Welcome to Beyond Reading with You, Season 2, Session 12, where we do poetry reading and more. Last weekend, we had Chitrasen Sahu, who took us through his absolutely amazing life journey after a double amputation. And then we went around a house in Pandharpur, Maharashtra, which is based on some sustainable principles. All the earlier episodes are available on Facebook and on my YouTube channel, Foodzilla, so if you want to catch up, you could catch up there too. Today, we shall turn our attention to senior citizens, elderlies. We will be speaking to the founders of Maya Care on assisting senior citizens in India and UK. I'm starting off the session with a poem, which is on in a slightly lighter vein on when old age comes. The title of the poem is I Am Fine. I have not been able to find out who the poet is, but the lines are beautiful. Here it goes. I am fine. There is nothing the matter with me. I am as healthy as can be. I have arthritis in both knees, and when I talk with the V's. My pulse is weak and my blood is thin, but I'm awfully well for the shape I am in. Arc supports I have for my feet, or I wouldn't be able to walk in the street. Sleep is denied me night after night, but every morning I find I'm all right. My memory's failing me, my head's in a spin, but I'm awfully well for the shape I am in. The moral of this as the tale I unfold, that for me and you who are growing old, it's better to say I'm fine with a grin than to let the folks know the shape that we are in. How do I know that my youth is all spent? Well, my get up and go has got up and went. But I really don't mind when I think with a grin of all the grand places my get up has been. Old age is golden, I have heard it is said, but sometimes I wonder as I get into the bed. With my ears in a drawer, my teeth in a cup, my eyes on the table until I get up. The sleep hour comes to me, I say to myself, is there anything else I could put on the shelf? When I was young, my slippers were red, I could kick my heels right over my head. When I grew older, my slippers were blue, but still I could dance the whole night through. Now when I'm old, my slippers are black. I walk to the store and puff my way back. I get up each morning and dust off my wits, pick up the papers and read the obits. If my name is missing, I know I am not dead, so I get a good breakfast and go back to bed. What a lovely satirical, or should I say humorous take on saying I am fine at old age. A lovely poem. Let us now go and meet our guests for today. They are the founders of Maya Care. Maya Care was conceived as a dream to assist senior citizens in activities that would offer them convenience, independence, and happiness while continuing to live in their homes. A very critical fact to remember, it is not a care home or a care facility. To tell us more, we have with us, and let me get them on screen now. Give me a moment. Just about waiting for them to accept. Awesome. Abhay and Manjiri. Manjiri, Gokhale, Joshi, and Abhay Joshi. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, great. I would just ask somebody else on the session if they could tell us if they can hear both of us clearly. Preeti, if you could just let us know if you can hear us clearly. I think it should be fine. Looks good. Okay, great. I think it's fine. Good. So Manjiri Gokhale Joshi is a former CEO of Global Talent Track and now an author. And Abhay runs a company, Elephant Connect. I think which provides tutoring services for students up to A levels. And they are the founders of this lovely institution called Maya Care. Uh, Now, I'll get into what Maya Care is all about. But before that, I would first like to thank both Manjiri and Abhay for their time, for coming on to this session and letting us know what Maya Care is all about. I'm sure there will be people who will derive a lot of benefit from it. As I start, tell me currently how are both of you doing? How are the things around with your families and everyone else?
Yeah, I think we are absolutely fine, and we are delighted. Manjiri is back here in the UK. She had been away for almost like 3 years, and she used to come here once in a while. But having her back is a big relief in the sense we are all together living as a family. So that is great. Thank you.
Great, great.
All good, thanks. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to dive straight into the topic. How did Maya Care happen? What was it that really set off the wheels rolling in terms of having such an idea? First of all, the conception itself. How did it come about?
Right.
You
Yeah.
can.
Okay, so Amit, this is something we started as we saw 10 years ago, and the situation is not changed much since then. But the reason we thought of Maya Care in the first place is that we realized that around us in India today, this is the first generation of Indians who are living with the fact that it's a talk that their children don't live with them. Or if their children do live with them, or even if they live in the same city, they don't have time for them.
Right.
So this is the generation, first generation of Indians, because take my parents, for instance, who looked after their own parents from both sides till the very end. And like that, there was everybody else who knew that they're going to stay together as a joint family. But this is the first time. And because this is the first time, it was seen as a social need.
Correct.
Because apart from the fact that physically there is help needed, psychologically, sociologically, it's a big stigma to suddenly be alone.
It is.
So that's the reason why we thought of it.
Okay.
I think just to add to what Manjiri said, I think one of the key problems when you start growing older is you start feeling lonely as well. Even as a couple, it's very difficult because you have been so busy in your life generally till that point. Particularly if your children are living with you as well. Even though they go away during the daytime, in the evening they are back. So there is some sort of an activity, and suddenly having that vacuum and loneliness, no one to chat to, also can have a lot of big impact. So
Wow. Uh, so when you were actually setting up this whole thing, what were your challenges which you faced during that time? I'm sure it was not a cakewalk in terms of getting people involved, getting the permissions, getting setup done. Just walk us through that.
yeah, to be very frank, in terms of the procedural bit, we were totally ignorant when we started in terms of registration and everything. So we were fortunate to get help from chartered accountants and company secretaries to help us out on that front. So that procedural bit went on well. But we did a slight mistake. We registered initially as a limited company, and we did not know that there is a separate section in Companies Act where we can register as a charity. We were not aware. Unfortunately, our no one advised us. So for first few years, we were running it as a limited company. There was a reason, in fact. I won't say it was a full mistake because initially we started uh, as a part of a business, but not to earn profit. But we used to charge for every service.
Okay.
So it was like, sorry, what did you say?
Make it self-sustainable.
To
That
make
was
it-
the whole idea.
yeah.
Understood.
So we started charging. We used to charge a bit of money for service, but then over the period of about a couple of years, we realized that that model is not working because not enough people were showing interest. Though there was a need, people were not showing interest, particularly when it came to paying money. And we
Okay.
said that, see, we have started this. Some people had already, we had been serving people, so we cannot stop this at any cost. So let's make it free of cost. Let's not charge anyone. If people would like to give us money, it would be like a donation. So we changed our model overnight. We made a decision that this is what we want to do, but we don't want to close down the service. So let's make it free of charge, and let's fund it ourselves. So that is how it suddenly changed. But we did not change the official sort of limited company into a charity company till about 2014, if I'm not
Yeah.
wrong.
Wow, the very idea, I do not know, the very idea that, okay, let us now make this service free itself is a big step to take when you have started something off, though it may be for a noble cause, but even to take that bold step of keeping it free, because sustenance over a longer period of time is something which is always a challenge for businesses or institutions of any kind.
So I'll go back to this question, Amit, which you raised earlier, because that is a challenge we face today as well, though it's much, much better. But because I was so closely involved that time during the first few years of Maya Connect, when I was closely involved in talking to every person calling, and we used to see that the entire transaction of somebody agreeing to take the service, and the charge was as low as 200 rupees per visit. 200 rupees, that's it. It was anyway meant to be a self-sustainable charge or just paying for the conveyance. But it used to take so long for somebody to actually reach that stage. And even
Okay.
after reaching that stage, a lot of times people would say, no, 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 I don't think this is going to work. And we don't want to criticize, but unfortunately, that is the way that I mean, it's not about criticism, but it's our acceptance that that is the way our society is structured.
Correct.
That there was a time when I remember that a bunch of our volunteers and me, we were in an IT company in Pune, and we were very kindly offered a session there to talk to people, and they would come and visit our stall and take the service. And we were offering a simple charge of 250 rupees for a trial visit. 250 rupees. That's it. One time trial visit. If you like it, you take it. At the most, subscription was 1,000 rupees. Otherwise, don't take it. That's fine.
Correct.
Unfortunately, I remember having people coming, expressing a lot of interest, lauding us, applauding us, but going back and not taking it, saying they want to think about it. Knowing I've had instances of saying, oh, my grandmother is going to be alone, we're going for a wedding, but let me check with my parents. This is in an IT company. While next door somebody is buying dolls for 600 rupees, 800 rupees for their children. So when I say it's a social commentary, that is one kind of impediment. The second kind of impediment is even if the children were okay, and we did have a lot of times where they were okay, the children were okay, okay, let's start somewhere. The thought for a senior citizen to say that why should someone pay someone else to come and talk to me? I mean, that's not an easy thought.
Right.
And this is something we grapple with even today. So one of the very, very unknown facts about MyFair is that over the years, over the past 10 years, there have been several instances where people have used the service, sometimes for years, but have not known that the person coming is from MyFair.
Okay.
And we are the ones who suggested that because we said it's fine as long as the person is happy. They think it's a friend or a relative or friend, somebody coming in, helping them out, and it's a social visit. Anyway, there is no charge, so there is no need to tell them it's from Mac.
Correct.
So
Understood.
that's to answer your
Wow.
question about challenges.
Now, okay, you mentioned a very critical part, the services which are offered, and I will break this into two parts. The first part which I want to ask is, give me how does the entire availing of a service start for anyone who is in need of such a service? The second part I will want to address is what do these services actually entail? So let's
Yeah.
start with what really, how does one approach you? How does one go about everything?
Yeah, so there are a couple of channels through which MayaCare can be contacted. So there is the email ID where service at mayacare.org or service at mayacare.co.uk where a request can be sent. Or on our website, which is mayacare.org for India and mayacare.co.uk for UK, there is a contact form through which the request can be raised. That is one thing. As well as we have helplines established in Pune and Mumbai right now, and as well as in UK, where people can directly call us and request for a service. If it is a first time call being received, then we, of course, we need more details about the person who is needing the service, what sort of service is needed. Because many a times people feel that we are like, we have our own setup where we can take the senior citizen, and that senior citizen can stay there. It's not a care home that we run, or we don't run a IR service where we have people going to their houses to help out in cleaning or taking their medical care. In fact, we openly say that we cannot cater for emergencies. Our volunteers are not trained for catering for emergencies.
Correct.
That's the thing. So these are the channels through which we receive the service. And then we have coordinators in each of the cities, where the coordinator then processes the request internally in terms of which part of the city the request is from, which where the volunteer needs to go, who are available, who are not available, who is the right volunteer, because there could be language constraints, there could be male and female constraints. So if female senior citizen is there, naturally the expectation is that a female volunteer goes,
Right.
etc. And then the right volunteer is chosen. The volunteer is given all the details. The person who is requesting the service, usually it is going to be one of the children of the senior citizen. We inform them that this is the volunteer, these are the contact details of the volunteer, and we also inform the senior citizen that this volunteer will come at this point of time. So that is how the first service gets initiated.
Okay.
Now, there is one more thing. If the volunteer going is a new volunteer, we started a mentoring type of a sort of an arrangement with the new volunteer, because we don't want the volunteers to get confused, because they may not be aware of all the
Yes.
situations to handle.
True.
So a senior volunteer from our group usually accompanies a new volunteer, maybe for a couple of visits, to make sure that the new volunteer as well as the senior citizen is comfortable. And then it goes on a routine basis, because some requests are that every week, twice a week, the volunteer is supposed to visit at so and so time. Or some of them is one-off request, and they will say that, okay, we'll call you back if we need something. And once we have the registered information for the service recipient, then it's normal procedure. So they can
Okay.
directly call the helpline and request the service, or if it is a regularized service, our volunteers will go and go at the requested time on a regular basis. So that is how we run.
Okay. And my second part of the question was also primarily when I listened to Manjiri speaking on the CNBC TV 18 to that the positioning of Maya Care, or the confusion about the positioning, where at times is it a maid providing services, is it something which is about IRs, is it about a care home? So if you could just tell us about what services are literally offered by Maya Care, I think that would really help the people listening too.
Okay, so I'll actually address this in a negative way first. So we'll just tell you the three things we don't do. So we do everything else.
Okay.
So as Abhay mentioned, the three things we don't do is emergency, because we're not equipped to handle emergency.
Correct.
Second is gardening and housekeeping and cooking and all the kind of domestic services which we don't do. And the last is medical care, as in qualified IR nursing, that kind of thing. So these are the only three things we don't do.
Okay.
Anything else, which is why we call ourselves the next best thing to family. If if any of us were with a parent or a grandparent, what we would have done, we do. So
Okay.
it involves outdoor work, any running errands of any kind, paperwork, whatever else, accompanying them. We've done everything right from accompanying them to weddings, to radiotherapy, to chemotherapy, sitting outside the ICU, all kinds of things,
Wow.
to just visiting them and being with them, playing chess with them, reading to them, writing for them. We're very proud of the fact that several of our senior citizens have actually written books. And despite having eyesight issues, and because they wanted to write a speech or go on radio, whatever else, they've just had our Maya people to come and help them with the computer. A lot of times we get help with gadgets.
Yes.
So these are the kinds of things we do. We're always open to doing new things. We've had requests for water my plants while I'm away, or walk my dog. And of course, in India, we don't really have dog walking service, so
Yeah.
we've had that. We've had things like Ganpati. Bring the Ganpati home with all the puja items and everything
Correct.
else, because it's really busy and crowded to go and get things
Right.
somewhere. So essentially, we do anything, any of these things. To also protect our volunteers, we have been a little careful, and everything is on our website. That where we've said whether it's UK or India, as a rule, the senior citizen is expected to tell the volunteer to just be in the living area, in the drawing room area,
Correct.
reception area of the house as much as possible, or outside, unless the person taking the service is bedridden. That's
Okay.
the only time we make an exception.
True.
Because on both sides we have to be very careful, and we've not
Absolutely.
had any instances. We've been very blessed with good people from both sides. Mhm.
Great.
Amit, sorry to interrupt, but just one thing about the three negative points that Manjiri told. I won't call them as negative because something that we are not equipped to do. Having said that, we don't do it, but we help our senior citizens to get those services. So if someone needs a higher service, we will give them a list of numbers, or we will call. Our coordinator will help them in contacting the agencies, respective agencies, and connect them to the senior citizens so that
Okay.
they get the service. So we will not actually do it, but we facilitate that to make it happen. Including in case of emergencies, we can call the doctor for them and send ask the doctor to go there. But we are not doctors, so we
I
can't
think
actually do it.
the tagline really works very well about the next best thing to family. I mean, it's literally like a child taking care of everything apart from not being their child actually. But it's almost those services. One of the biggest backbones of this entire thing are the volunteers themselves. And as somebody also asked right now and had a question was, how does this volunteer onboarding or volunteer selection and vetting and all these processes take place?
So, I mean, we have a process where, first of all, whenever we need a volunteer, we do Facebook posts or any sort of social media posts. We don't spend our money on any commercial advertisement because we don't have that money to spend. We spend money only on the service.
Right.
We try to use these free services as much as possible. A bit of money is spent on social media, but that is a need of the day, and we are
True.
absolutely happy with that. Secondly, whenever any article or any sort of communication is done with the society in any form, it could be an article in the newspaper or in a magazine comes out, or maybe as Manjiri had been interviewed. After that, there is a sudden rush of inquiries, and most of them are for people willing to volunteer, which is a great news because then we have so much of an option.
Correct.
So what we do is we ask them to fill up a volunteer form that's on again on our website. We get some basic minimum information, and we make sure that in India we request them to give their Aadhaar card as a minimum and their address proof and other things, so that we have some sort of security. Of course, we ask them to send a copy, not the original. In the UK, we ask them driver's license, and if they have a copy of the NI card or anything of that sort, that is minimum required. As well as in the UK, we make sure that the DBS check is done.
Correct. Yeah.
We have tied up with an agency through which, because we do not directly qualify to tie up with the DBS, so we have tied up with an agency through which the DBS checks will be done. So, which is again needed in the UK regulatory requirement to make sure that the volunteers are DBS enhanced DBS check. Now, back in India, we also have so Manjari's mom is actively involved in this process of sort of
Meeting.
finalizing the volunteer. So we make sure that particularly the volunteers which are based in Pune, they have to go and meet Manjari's mom. Now she's almost close to 80, so she cannot go out. But she does all the local administration work with some additional help from our volunteers. Of course, that is needed because she cannot go out. But under her supervision, all those things happen. So she makes sure that the new volunteer, she talks to the person to get that feel of the person that yes, he is the right person, and then we onboard him.
Okay.
And then we have a sort of I won't say formal training, but sort of a information buddy pairing up with existing volunteers to get the person rolling.
Okay. There was somebody who just made a comment, and I don't know if I got the name correct, Deep Bahadur or somebody, who mentioned that I presume they were working, they're senior volunteer, about running around 70 years of age now, and they have around 28 years of his services have been with volunteering like this. So which was my a part of my another question I wanted to ask. You must be getting volunteers from various age profiles in this entire selection process.
Yes, yes. Our last Mindcare meeting in yesterday, of course, we had a Zoom call with Mindcare. But usually when we are in India, the Mindcare meetings happen at my parents' house. Dr. Vidya Gokhale and Suresh Gokhale, they are very, very active.
Right.
Especially my mother, she is a co-founder of Mindcare. So essentially, the meetings happen there, and I'll talk about Jyoti. So they happen at Jyoti's house, one of the two things. But the last time, our youngest volunteer was 18 and our oldest volunteer was 84. And and the volunteer was 84, he's been with us for a good 5 years. And the way he turns out, when he comes even for a meeting, is as if he's going to work because he was in a very good position in his workplace.
Correct.
And after he retired, that's the way he dresses. He goes, he has a conversation, and that's the whole point, because Maya Care, like you asked about positioning earlier, it is not a maid servant driver service. I'm not trying to demean any other service, but that
True.
is not the point because a lot of times when people say, "Oh, I don't think we need Medicare right now because we have a 12-hour meeting or we
Okay.
have," but what the point is being missed totally, and which Medicare people take care of volunteers, and which is why we receive that appreciation again and again and again, is the fact that there is intellectual and emotional stimulation which is otherwise missing. And that's the
Correct.
whole point. After we retire, after a certain age, when, as Abhay rightly said, that there is no stimulation, especially if you see during lockdown, the number of times where, we've had our senior citizens in tears just because their volunteer, when I say their volunteer, the person who used to visit them
It's
every
been
week,
there. Yeah.
could not go, but was calling them every day, sometimes twice a day, and they were just having a conversation. A lot of times they were talking, they were telling stories, and our people were listening. So this is the true value of Manjiri.
True, and I
And
can testify to that because a couple of stories I've seen on your Facebook page about what the work which these volunteers do and the kind of difference it makes to those people for whom the work gets done is tremendous. When you see somebody of about 80 plus years of age actually being thankful in their own way about the service which has been given to them, it is just moving as well as extremely satisfying. I'm sure for all of you. And the simplest of tasks, I think a lot of services, not to discredit them, are focused around the tangible things which happen. A lot of stuff which Maya Care I have seen also focus on the semi-tangible or the intangible services which these people really need. And I think companionship is one of those biggest things which a lot of us are not able to provide. A lot of this current service are not able to provide, and that's brilliant from Maya Care. I mean, and I have seen those testimonials from people. So. Hats off to you guys. One of the critical things which a lot of people wanted to know was, I presume you are currently in Pune and Mumbai in India. So two questions. One is, are you looking at anything beyond these cities? And in terms of countries, I presume UK is launched or about to get launched fully in a way. So if you could elaborate on that too.
right. So, Amit, actually, usually people start and then they expand, but we are very ambitious and very enthusiastic people. So, we started with 10 cities. We started with Mumbai, Pune, and we actually started 10, and we ran those 10 cities for a few years.
Okay.
And unfortunately, because for the past 10 years, Manjiri has simply run through our own personal funds and nothing else, we actually closed down 8 cities.
Okay.
And when we say it closed down, we just said that it will be much better to focus our energies and money both on Pune and Mumbai,
Right.
and run it well, which is what it's run very well. But right now, as we speak, there is a lot of excitement because we are getting a lot of requests, and one of them is going to be Trichy. It's a
Okay.
a totally different kind of city. You don't expect Trichy, but we've had a whole group of people coming to us from Trichy because I was doing a webinar for them a few weeks ago. A bunch of students and their professor on a different note totally, and they liked the concept so much. They said, "Can we help and can we do it?" So Trichy is going to be one soon. In the UK right now, we have Milton Keynes, London, and Cambridge are the three we are starting. And everything really starting a city is actually quite easy, provided we get somebody we can trust. And we
Okay.
just spoke
Yeah.
about this yesterday to our volunteers. And like you said, that they are the backbone. I mean, apart from my mother, Jyoti, Pratyusha, our people we have, and our volunteers, they are the backbone because we can trust them. After
Right.
all, sending somebody to somebody's house, I mean, there is a lot of danger involved if you're actually
True.
sending someone you can't trust.
Yeah.
But what happened in those seven, 8 cities, which we did close down right now, we did not find the right people. When I say right people, sometimes you have to monitor people and go back to it, and we just didn't have the resources to do that.
True.
But now what we're saying is that if there is anybody on this call, say from Chennai, or there is somebody from whichever city, Ahmedabad, which we had earlier, any city, or in the UK, if you're in
Right.
any part of the UK, all you need to do is agree to keep a Maya Care telephone with you, a Maya Care helpline. We pay for the helpline, and throughout all these 10 years, we've had the same number. Much before all of this mobile working from home started, we've only worked from home. Everybody worked from home. And we've only had mobile phones. We've never had a landline for this reason. And so all you need then is somebody who agrees to keep that cell phone with you, which we will pay for, but and agrees to answer that call. And if you miss a call, call back.
It
It's a
is.
very
Yeah.
simple requirement,
Yeah.
Correct.
right? So if you're able to do that and say, okay, if there is a service in my area, I will look for a volunteer in my area, or I will go. And that's how sitting starts. And we are very, very blessed. We have so much goodwill. And then they grow.
Okay.
So it's going to be easy if there is anything coming out of this. Yeah.
True.
I think, I mean, just to add to what Manjiri said, last night we were just having a chat about future of Maya Care in terms of what more we can do, how we can ease out things, etc. And one of the things, Manjiri always dreams much bigger than what I can think of. But she was saying that Maya Care should be there in each and every country. It is practically possible to do it. I said, yes, why not keep that aim? So we are open to having branches all over. We just need one person as a seed there who can grow
Correct.
physically, organically, because the person should have local contacts to build a local network of volunteers. And that, and we always expect our volunteers to be passionate about the work they do.
True.
So that is the key thing. If the passion is not there, if it is just one job to be done, then as you agree to this point, that this is a job which is not only a transactional thing; it's about a mental connect.
It is.
And unless you're passionately involved, you can't go beyond the normal sort of transactional bit. Just as an example, last 3 4 days back, we had a unfortunate incident that one of our service recipients, a very old service recipients, passed away in the care home in India. Along his wife, they used to live together there, and the daughter lives in the UK, and we got to know about it. And then, literally, Jyoti, I think probably she is in this call. She's our one of our coordinators in Pune, extremely efficient. Manjari will talk about her in few words, but she coordinated the whole affair, and without even needing any sort of push from our end, the person who was serving the service recipient, our volunteer, he had already gone ahead to do the needful. In fact, he was there helping the care home people to sort out all the logistics around it. And then a lady volunteer, she joined him there because to take care of the wife of the person, the deceased person. So it just happened without neither Manjiri or me taking much of an effort. And in terms of communication, we have made sure that we communicate in such situations. A constant periodic communication is given. So Jyoti was constantly updating the daughter living in UK in terms of what is happening, and they finally connected them on video so that she could speak with her mom as well
Correct.
on the front. So this is just one incident, and we are grateful that we have such volunteers working for us. Absolutely, we are very fortunate. That's why we can sit here and the activity can happen in India, and that's why we want to replicate that model here in the UK right now.
Okay. Also, I think Rajesh on the call right now just put a comment there. It must be a very challenging process in terms of matching the cultural attributes of a volunteer with that of the person who requires the assistance. Human language could be one barrier. How the person lives generally could be another barrier. I mean, those are challenges which are so intangible in nature that you would, I mean, it requires so much in-depth understanding of what that care is really about.
It's a great question, Rajesh. Absolutely brilliant question because this is something. This is a hidden part of my career again. And through our experiences, we find that a lot of senior citizens have actually become bitter at that stage. And all of us have family problems. Everybody has, I mean, not everybody is happy with everybody. Let's face it. So in all families, somebody is unhappy with something. But the best thing we've told our Mayapur volunteers, and we don't actually have to reiterate it, we just tell them once, is that you're going as a third person. You have to listen and come home. And which is why culturally it makes no difference to the Maya Care recipients who is coming because they have no idea. And I have experienced this myself because I used to go as a volunteer to somebody through my care. And it was a lady, she's no more, unfortunately. She was living alone, she didn't have children, her husband had passed away. Very learned lady, she was a PhD, but she lost her eyesight. She used to live alone. Until the very end, there was nobody visiting her except Maya Care volunteers because she, through her negativity, had pushed away everyone
Yeah.
else because any other relative would visit, she would talk about, how they, after her money, after her flat, after her whatever else. It was a very sad situation because she was such a learned person, but she was pushing away everyone else. But with the Mayakir volunteers, we would just go. She would talk about whatever. We'd listen. We'd do whatever because she had lost her eyesight. We would do a lot of her work around things and come back. So culturally, why I'm saying it's a great question, Rajan, because we are going to get this in the UK as well when we're working in the UK now, or it
Correct.
doesn't matter because essentially what you're going to do there is provide a human touch which is so sorely missing, desperately missing, especially after lockdown. So
True.
it's fine. All you need to do is be professional about it. So if you see our values, professionalism
Yeah.
that is what being professional means. That
True.
just go and listen and come back.
Wow.
Yeah, also, I mean, to be very frank, a bit of nitty-gritty, but we do have to sometimes send a volunteer compatible who can speak a specific language. Yeah, or sometimes what happens is some of our volunteers they are born and brought up in a certain region, and the service recipient is born and brought up in a certain different social sort of strata. In that case, we try and match that as much as possible.
Correct.
So we try, but as Manjiri said, beyond a certain point, it doesn't matter. It is once you cross that line, it doesn't matter. It's the bonding between the service recipient and the volunteer. Once that is established, I think all the other things become blurry.
I think
You
such
know,
a very
where this
basic.
comes out,
Sorry, Manjiri,
sorry,
you go ahead.
sorry, Amit. So where this comes out very, very strongly is when we have situations which are social situations. So we've had two situations in the past where I've been personally involved in my career where there was a wedding in the family. And
Mm.
both times the service provided was fortunately, unfortunately, by the same lady. And she's quite an amazing lady. Her son actually lives in the UK, but she's in India,
Okay.
Payan. So she's been with us for I think 8 years now. And so when we said what's the service is that in India with a lot of typically when there is a wedding there is a lot of jewelry, a lot of money, a lot of things lying around the house, and people are very very reluctant to leave that house to somebody who is going to be a 12-hour, some kind of Aya or nurse coming down and helping and going back. So
Right.
apart from this financial aspect, they're just not sure. What if that lady doesn't know who to call, if the person is not well, whatever it is. So we had these two occasions where we actually could send two volunteers. One when that grandmother did not want to go for the wedding because she didn't want her own children to take, she didn't want to divert attention from the bride and groom to herself. So she didn't want to go. So we
Okay.
sent one volunteer to go with her, actually take her, help her wish the couple, come down, put off her back, all of that. And the second was to sit with the other person who was not well, sit at home. So after not using Maya Care for so long, finally when the family said, oh, she's coming, this is Vaishampayan, we have no problem. So they started calling her every.
Okay.
So culturally, it's really something when you look at somebody, so I can trust these people now.
True.
Mm.
Awesome. I'm
Yeah.
saying it's such a basic human quality of listening, which is possibly the foundation of this entire service. Once that is achieved by a volunteer, I think a lot of the other processes become much more simpler than that. Which
Absolutely.
brings me to actually this current situation. Any specific kind of challenges you have seen from the senior citizens during this lockdown periods?
I think several, some of them Manjiri mentioned earlier, particularly in India because of the sudden lockdown. Uh, the senior citizens just got isolated in their individual houses, and the regular visits, we could not do the regular visits because people were not allowed to travel. Another, I would say, challenge for us was most of our volunteers are also senior citizens. They are about 60, which
Correct.
means that they can also be vulnerable in that situation. So we have to protect them, our volunteers. So we didn't want them to take any risk. And that is where we made sure that we ensured that each and every volunteer stays in touch with the senior citizen they are serving over phone. And then slowly we also made them do video calls and everything so that they can also see each other and do things. In fact, some of our volunteers, they have been helping senior citizens to pay bills online during this period. So that also helped. During the similar time, some senior citizens got stuck in the UK because they could not travel back because of
Oh
the
yeah. Okay.
international
Oh,
borders had been closed. And they had originally, when they traveled to the UK to be with their children, they had carried certain stuff of their typical medicines that old people need. But then they were getting worried that they are getting those medicines are getting exhausted. They definitely do not have prescriptions locally here. So Pratyusha, who is our project manager from Maya Care, did an excellent job of coordinating with another agency who has been into this area, and we, Pratyusha, personally made sure that the medicines were delivered to her Mumbai house based on the prescriptions that were submitted by the senior citizens from the UK. And then she packed them as per the courier requirements and international courier requirements or whatever they are. And they have the first batch or maybe the second batch should be reaching was safely delivered to the parents living here. So that was an unexpected thing that happened. We did not know about it, but a request came, and from there it all started. But I mean, a big thank you to Pratyusha, who really took that whole ownership to make it happen. So again, the commitment to work of our people who work for
true.
MyHealth really helps. And in this lockdown, totally unprecedented things that are not listed as typical things that MyCare does. But it is all about serving senior citizens in whatever situation they are as much as possible is what we have been doing.
Absolutely. Before I go to one of our last questions, Manjari, you had shared a poem by somebody. I would want our listeners to listen to it. Before that, you could just tell us about who has sent that poem?
Yeah, so the lady who has written that poem is Manasi Barve. So she
Okay.
is my husband Abhay's cousin actually. She lives in Milton Keynes, and because we are close friends and closely involved, she thought of writing this poem on senior citizens, and
Okay.
so that's
Good.
who she
So I'm
is.
going to play that thing now. You'll hear the audio, and just give me a minute.
मायेचा एक स्पर्श. धूसर ओल्या दृष्टीला अस्पष्ट असा भास हवा. धूसर ओल्या दृष्टीला अस्पष्ट असा भास हवा. थरथरणाऱ्या हातांना मायेचा एक स्पर्श हवा. शमली तृष्णा दमली काया विसावली वृद्धाश्रमी. विलासी हे विश्व जरी वेदनेची नाही कमी. आभाळ दिसे गवाक्षातून दर्शन करवी सूर्याचे. सांज पुन्हा मग दाटून येई थवे परतती पक्षांचे. वेडावणाऱ्या स्मृतीला मातीचा नवा गंध हवा. थरथरणाऱ्या हातांना मायेचा एक स्पर्श हवा. सखे सवंगडी झाले येथे रमलो याही विश्वात. ओघ वाहतो पुढे नदीचा तरी अधीरता जगण्यात. मुले येती माये पोटी क्षणिक वेळ तो फुलण्याचा. नवी उमेद नवीन छंद नवीन डाव हा जगण्याचा. सुकणाऱ्या या पानांना वाऱ्याचा हलका तरंग हवा. थरथरणाऱ्या हातांना मायेचा एक स्पर्श हवा. दारी आला नवा पाहुणा करोना त्याचे नाव. साथ संगत सुटत चालली ओसाड पडल गाव. परिचारिका वैद्य होऊन उदार जीवावरती रात्रंदिनी व्रतस्थ होऊन झटून सेवा करीती. नाही भेटणे आता माझे पिल्ले बंद घरट्यात. तगमग होते परी सोसणे मिटून जाणे प्रलयात. दिवसा मागून रात्री गेल्या अधीर झाले नेत्र. नाही गाठ मम पिल्लाची दिसू लागले चित्र. काळ आता समीप आला श्वास होतसे मंद. सवंगड्यांसह जाणे आता तोडून सारे बंध. ह्या तुटणाऱ्या नात्याला एकच मोठा श्वास हवा. थरथरणाऱ्या हातांना मायेचा एक स्पर्श हवा.
Wow, it's such a beautiful, lovely poem. Manjiri, if you just want to possibly give a gist of what that poem really means.
You want to
No,
go? Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Right. So essentially, what the poem is signifying is really the gist of Maya Care is that at the end of the day, the purpose of Maya Care was to make sure that people who cross a certain limit, maybe lose some part of, develop some kind of disability, or simply just lose mobility, or just can't do things as fast as they used to. The idea is to help them live as actively, as happily, and with dignity as possible. So that is really the gist of this is the same,
Awesome.
that we do not, like our generation does not expect our children to look after us. We definitely don't expect that. And I'm sure there will be a lot of people in their 40s who would say the same thing. So while what Mansi is saying is that there is a time, especially through Corona, when children came, they visited, they spread a little life and little cheer, but they went away. So essentially, what we are thinking of is that the senior citizens should be able to live on their own and find activity, find joy, and find dignity. It's not just activity joy, but do all of this with dignity on their own. So that's the gist. Thank you.
Superb. That was amazing. I mean, having helped close to now over maybe close to 1,500, 1,700 senior citizens till now, Maya Care, I presume, is doing a phenomenal job. But I'm sure there is a lot which you expect to do too. And for all those who are interested in contributing in any way possible, I've mentioned some of the details above. The at mayacare.services is their Instagram handle. There are two websites, one primarily India, mayacare.org, and mayacare.co.uk, which is for their UK services. They also have an email address, service@mayacare.org. So please do reach out to them, whether it is for volunteering, whether it is for helping them out in any other way which is possible. Please do. And once again, I must thank Manjiri as well as Abhay for being on the session, telling us about it. However, I do not want you to. When I disconnect you, please do not go away. I have a small surprise for you. So just be on the session. But thank you very much, and I really appreciate your time once again.
Thanks for having us, Amit.
Thank you so much, Amit. It means a
Yeah.
lot. And apart from volunteers and donors, of course, we are hoping to get a lot of champions. Like we have Preeti and Rajesh on this call, and
Yeah.
now we have you. We are just hoping for champions who just talk about mindset through
Absolutely.
this session, so
Yeah.
that will help us a great deal.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Take care, guys.
Thank you. Yeah.
So that was Maya Care. Manjari and Abhay taking us through their session. Now I have a small surprise for them. I hope I'm able to get that surprise online. So, what is a better way to tell about? Just hold on. Oops. Yeah. What is a better way to tell people about the services? Is the testimony of people who have availed those services. Here we have with us Preeti and Rajesh. And I'm not going to waste too much of time blabbering what I want to, but I want them to tell us their experience about Maya Care.
Hi, Amit. Hello.
Hi.
It's nice to be on your session one more time.
Yes, very much. Thank you. And together.
Yeah, together. I'm so happy Manjiri and Abhay were there on your live session to tell everybody what they do. My care set up in India as well as which is being founded now in UK as well. Uh, Both Rajesh and I would like to convey our gratitude for all that they have done. My care team, if you're listening all together, we are really, really happy to have you in our lives because well, to start with, let me just tell you how we met Manjari and Abhay. Uh, so that was at Manjari's book launch, Maya. She wrote a book called as Maya. Again, the title of the book. That was in Milton Keynes, and that's where we got to know about Maya Care Foundation that Manjari, Abhay, and her mom had established in India. And we were really, really kind of attracted by what they were doing, and we think that they're doing a great job assisting all the seniors and being a kind of a bond between the children and their parents wherever they are. So that's how we got to know about them. Our first experience with Maya Care, getting their services, was for my father. My father, who's been bedridden for about 5 years' time because of stroke, he he he's a really good person when it comes to speaking about gearboxes, but somehow he kind of lost the mojo of speaking to people. He kind of went through a shock after having this kind of an illness, but after his recovery, he was kind of frustrated, not being able to convey what he wanted to say to us, and we needed a change of face there. Just as Manjari had mentioned earlier, uh, that it does become difficult for parents to convey how they're feeling, and for the children as well to find out how their parents are feeling at times. And to break that ice, they need a change of face. So that's where Maya Care Foundation actually helped us. They sent a buddy home. Although initially we asked Abhay if it could be like if we could send a buddy home, but as Rajesh's friend, and they agreed straight away. And that was
Okay.
done so subtly and so well. But eventually, my parents did come to know that this is through Maya Care. We opened up, and when my father was really happy to have this buddy, Mr. Nerkar, who lives around Pimpri Chinchwad, and he helped my father speak a lot. He started interacting regularly. They went out.
Wow.
Yeah, they went out on a weekly roundabout in this area on a wheelchair because Mr. Naker said, "Don't worry, I'll speak to him. I'll take him around." And the person who was bedridden, who didn't actually go out of the house at all for about 2 or 3 years' time, was able to go out for a walk. Not for a walk, sorry, in a wheelchair. Mr.
Wheelchair.
Naker took him out in a wheelchair, and that was the biggest thing for us.
Phenomenal.
Absolutely. Was our first experience. My father just needed a listener that time.
I think we've just lost Preeti for a moment. Just hold on. Let me try and get them if I can. We have about 3 minutes left. Just hold on. Can people still see me? I'm just trying to check. I'm removing her and I'm going to add her in a minute. If you can still see me, just give me a thumbs up, anybody, and I'll try and add Preeti once again. Let me try. I think we have lost her. We will have a couple of minutes. So I'm just going to check once. Just hold on. Yep, we seem to have lost her. So I'm going to try and see if I can add Rajesh. By any chance, but we have lost Preeti. Rajesh. Yes, we have Rajesh here.
Hi.
By any chance, but we have lost Preeti.
Hello, Amit. Can you hear us?
Yeah, your camera is flipped. You may just need to.
Who do you want now? Me or
Yeah.
Rajesh now? Okay, let me quickly tell you about our second experience then. Hello, Amit. Can you hear us?
Yeah, your camera is flipped. You may just need. Do you have another phone also on?
Is that okay? Hello, Amit?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now for the second experience, recently because of the COVID situation, obviously, Uh, my mom has been managing my dad. Oh, you okay? Yeah, yeah. Okay. My dad's care. She's been a caregiver, so obviously she is exhausted. So we needed someone to make sure that she was being provided with lunch. So Maya stepped in here again. I called up around 12 o'clock, and by 4 o'clock they had managed someone to pick up the lunch box and deliver at my mom's place. That
Wow.
happened within 4 hours time, and I was
Awesome.
so absolutely, absolutely right, Rajesh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it was such a quick feedback, but even in that time, actually, they had keeping contact with us,
Yes.
saying that okay, we are doing this, we are doing that.
Please
So
don't
to
worry.
be a
Yes.
constant touch, it was quite amazing, and,
Yeah.
and that's quite assuring as well at the same
Absolutely.
time.
Yeah, totally. And I must mention one more thing. There's always a social pressure when it comes to when you ask for help from someone outside your family. But people are getting much more aware that this is a need of the time, as Manjiri has stated, because
Super.
we are in the generation where we are staying away, we are going out of the family,
Correct.
and this is where Maya Care comes to help. Thank you, Maya Care.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you so much, Preeti. Rajesh, thank you so much for dropping by. I hope Maya Care Services has heard you. I'll speak to you guys later. There's about 30 seconds remaining. So thank you very much. Thanks once again.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, guys, just about 10-15 seconds remaining. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to Maya Care. Thank you for listening to Preeti and Rajesh in their own words as to how Maya Care has helped them. I hope each one of you is able to contribute in some way or the other to Maya Care and to senior citizens. Please take care, stay safe. This is Amit Sangekar signing off from Beyond Reading with You, Season 2, Session 12.